Alright, time for the solutions for the matrix operations. We're actually on this entire front side. You just need to figure out what the variables are. And so basically on this first one, you just take each of the letters one at a time. You get 8 plus negative 2 equals z. Well, that's pretty quick. 8 plus negative 2 is 6. And then, let's see, next part. 4 plus y equals negative 3. Well, if you're going to go, here I can even write out the equation for myself. 4 plus y equals negative 3. That'd make y have to be negative 7. And then my other one, negative 1 plus x equals 5. I guess I could write another equation in case you're a little bit unsure what's going on with that. At this point you would add 1 to both sides, and you get x equals 6. And there you go, so you got z6, x6, and y is negative 7. On the next one, I am going to write out equations for this one just so I can have it be a little bit more clear. 3x is going to have to equal 18. So I'm going to have that, 3x equals 18. Divide both sides by 3, and I'll get x equals 6, just like number 1. And then the next part, I'm going to have negative 4 equal z plus 8. So negative 4 equals z plus 8. Just subtract 8, not 4, 8 from both sides. You'll get negative 12 equals z, or z equals negative 12. And then my last one, this 2y minus 1 equals 9 part. You get 2y minus 1 equals 9. Add 1 to both sides to get 2y equals 10. And then divide both sides by 2. And you get y equals 5. And there's my other one. Moving on to 3. This one has these 3 pieces. We need to have match up with these 3 pieces. And so that gives me an equation, negative 10 equals 4x plus 2. Negative 4 equals 2 minus y. And my last one is 13 equals 3z minus 2. And I just have to solve each of these. Like, I'll subtract 2 from both sides on this one to get negative 12 to equal 4x. Divide by 4 on both sides. I'll get x equals negative 3. And then on my next one, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides to get negative 6 equals negative y. And if you times both sides by negative 1, you'll get y equals positive 6. And then my last one here, adding 2 to both sides, you'll get 15 equals 3z. And if you divide both sides by 3, you'll get what z is, which will be z equals 5. So that's number 3. And then my next one has more extravagant equations to write. This 12 equals 2b minus 4. And I have 2a plus 3 is going to equal 9. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that one, because right here I have negative 5a is going to equal negative 15. And that's a smaller equation, and I just want to deal with the smaller one. And then my last piece, I need to get some equation that has c in it. You'll get negative 7 equals negative 2c minus 3. And if you add 3 to both sides on this one, I'm just going to start on my right equation. You'll get negative 2c on the right side, negative 4 on the left. Divide both sides by negative 2. You'll get c equals positive 2. And if you solve this here equation here in the middle, for a, just divide both sides by negative 5, you'll get a equals positive 3. Oops. Too many undos. Positive 3. And that one's good to go. And then my leftmost equation here, I want to get rid of that minus 4 by adding 4 to both sides. I'll get 2b equals 16. Divide both sides by 2. And you'll get b equals 8. And that should be it for 4. Moving on to 5, this has a lot of stuff in it. And so it's looking like I need to get an X, a Y, a W, an N, and an M. And that'll give me all those variables. So we're going to start writing a bunch of equations. Let's start with the X part. So X minus that negative 2X minus 9 is going to equal the 21 part. So negative 2x minus 9 equals 21. And then I'm going to have an equation with the y. So I'm going to have negative 5y minus 32 is going to equal the 3y on the right side. And then I'm going to have an equation with the z, where I get z minus negative 16 equals negative 14. Negative 14. And then I'm going to have an equation with a w involved. 3 minus 4w is going to equal the 15 there. So I'm going to put that equation right here. 3 minus 4w equals 15. And what else am I missing? N and m. Let's see. So right here, 10 minus negative 12 is going to equal 12m. So I'm going to put that here. 10 minus negative 12 is going to equal 2m. And then finally my last equation, negative 6 minus 3n is going to equal 12. And then that one would be good to go. So negative 6 minus 3n equals 12. Alright, so looking like I have 6 variables and 6 equations. I just need to solve each of them separately. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides on this one to get negative 2x equals 30. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I'll get x equals negative 15. And that one's good to go. On my next one, I'm going to get my y's on the right side, so I'm going to add 5y to both sides to get negative 32 equals 8y. Then divide both sides by that 8, and I get y equaling negative 4. And then on my equation right here, subtracting a negative 16 is the same thing as adding 16. So if I want to get z by itself, I just need to subtract 16 from both sides, and I'll get z equals negative 30. That one's pretty quick. Alright, my next one, figuring out w here. I can just subtract 3 from both sides to get negative 4w equals 12. Divide both sides by negative 4 to get w equals negative 3. And on my next one, it's looking like I got 10 minus negative 12. Well, if you do that, it's the same thing as 10 plus 12, so that's 22. On the right side, I still got 2m, just need to divide both sides by 2. And you'll get 11 equals m, or m equals 11. Make my m a little bit better. And then over here, I'm just going to add 6 to both sides to get negative 3n equals 18. Divide both sides by that negative 3 to get n equals negative 6. Ta-da! There's that one. Man, holy crap, man, these are just getting more and more complicated. Alright, we'll just take it one at a time. Let's start with a. So this equation, negative 2a plus 21 is going to equal 5a. So let's see. Let me write that equation. Negative 2a plus 21 is going to equal 5a. And then another equation, this one's going to go for b. And so 15 plus negative 5b is going to equal 35. 15 plus negative 5b, that's a b, equals 35. And do we have a c? Yes, we have a c. So 3c plus 15 is going to equal 15. Here, I'll write it out, but I'll just tell you right now, the c is going to be 0. If you have something plus 15, you get 15. C is going to have to be 0. But anyway, we'll deal with the equations just a little bit. Is there a d? I don't see a d. Let's go for the next letter in the alphabet, which I think is M. So this one here comes from negative 11 plus negative 13 is going to equal negative 8m. So let me put that here. Negative 11 plus negative 13 is going to equal negative 8m. Let me put these in like boxes, kind of separate things out for myself. Next one, n. We can have an equation with n here. Negative 8n plus negative 40 is going to equal 2n. That's 8. Negative 8n plus negative 40. That negative is not very pronounced. Man. Negative 40 is going to equal 2n. Let's see, what else do we got here? Man, just setting up these equations is taking forever. Next part. And I think I ran out of those ones. And I think our next variables include w, the x, y, and z. And that should be all the variables. And that's actually more variables than I can fit on this screen right now. Let's do the w part, though. 12 plus negative 7w is going to equal negative 2. So 12 plus negative 7w is going to equal negative 2. And let's start with these. No, we're going to finish this up by adding another page here. Alright, okay, so I took those last ones, and these are my other equations. This just come from the pieces that I was like pointing out before. Alright, so now we finally have all the equations. You just need to solve them really quick. Like on this first one, I'll add 2a to both sides, and that'll give me 21 equals 7a, divide by the 7, and you'll get a equals 3. Then on the next one, I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides to get negative 5b equals 20. Divide both sides by the negative 5. And you get b equals negative 4. And on the next one, if you subtract 15 from both sides, you'll get 3c equals 0. And if you want to go through the process of dividing by 3, you can, and that'll give you c equals 0 still. On this next one, combine those like terms, simplify that a little bit, you'll get negative 24. Right side you got negative 8m, divide by the negative 8. That's an m. And you'll get m equals 3. On this next one, I'm going to add 8n to both sides, just so I can get my n's on one side. I got negative 40 equals 10n. Divide both sides by 10. And you'll get n equals negative 4, just like b. On the next one, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides to get negative 7w equals negative 14. Divide both sides by that negative 7, and you'll get w equals positive 2. And moving on to the next part, I'm going to combine these like terms to get negative x equals 7. If you happen to want to, you can divide both sides by negative 1, but you can just switch the signs to get x equals negative 7. And on the next part, I'm going to add 6 to both sides to get rid of the negative 6. I'll get 5y equals 10. Divide by 5 on both sides to get y equals 2. And then on the next one, I want to get things away from the x, so add 6 to both sides to get 3, not the x, the z, to get the right side equaling 18. Divide both sides by the 3, and you'll get z equals 6. So really, like the hardest part of this is just writing all the stinking equations and then solving them.